Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to another Q&A show today, this Sunday. And I'm so excited to be here and sharing with you guys. I am going to talk about how to help yourself with chronic pain, with discomfort in the body. And I welcome any questions about maintaining and increasing health, connecting with your body, getting to know how to treat ourselves. Because honestly, yes, sometimes we need a therapist, but the most important thing is that you learn to connect with your body to understand how to work with it, which sometimes, we don't have another person to help us. And so I look forward to your questions, and I got a whole list here too that I wanted to address today. So just a quick intro. I'm Monica, and this is my YouTube channel, Empower Your Health, Empower Your Life TV, where we connect you with health and wellness resources so that you can empower yourself and create the life you want and the life you love. So that is my mission, to help you create your life and be empowered and know what to do for yourself and know that you have all the power to do that. So I'm excited and I'm all here to help you out and answer questions. So if anybody has questions, you can jump on StreamYard. If you are on Facebook or YouTube, you will see a link to jump on StreamYard to actually chat with me, or you can simply type your comments in the chat box or in the comment box on YouTube or Facebook. So let's begin. I have several questions I wanted to address. So one thing that comes up a lot these days is that, current way that we live our lives, a lot of computer work, a lot of office work. A lot of people have been asking about headaches, about neck pain, stiffness, wrists and hands, and also strain on the eyes. So a lot of stuff going on in around the head, around this whole area of the shoulders, all that we use to type on the computer, right? And so I wanted to address that a little bit because there's tons of things you can do. And if you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can also join my 5-minute therapy every day, where I give you different tips and guide you through a 5-minute, usually 5-minute therapy, where you get to treat yourself and create this really good habit of doing that every single day, because that really is the way to go. And it does not have to be a long time. You don't have to spend a tons of resources, time, and effort into connecting with your body and getting healthy and strong. So that is really important. This is my message to you. That it can be simple and easy, but the habit is the most important thing. So let's talk a little bit about, to answer those questions I've got about headaches and neck pain and shoulder pain and wrists and hands. So there's tons of things you can do. Oftentimes, starting with the headaches, what I see a lot is headaches are, obviously there's many different reasons, many different causes of headaches. We have migraine headaches. We have sometimes just tension headaches. They all really uncomfortable. Sometimes our eyes get so strained by looking at the screen that this creates a lot of tension in the system, in the fascial system in the body. So we become really constricted and tight. And remember, one thing that is very important before I give you some tips and techniques is to remember that our body is not a collection of separate elements of, say, we have our eyes here, our ears here, our head here, and neck here, and then, hands floating out there. All of it is beautifully collaborating and connected together through the connective tissue, through the muscles, bones, and ligaments, and all of the layers of our our bodily structures all the way down to the cellular level, where the cells are actually embedded in the connective tissue, in what we call the fascia as well. So there's really no separate element inside of our body. So remember that whenever you start to think about how can I help my symptoms, how can I help my headache, how can I help my wrist pain, remember that one thing first, that it's not just about this one symptom. It's about treating your body and creating that positive habit of bringing health and space, bringing fluidity into the tissues. So that is super important. So thinking about headaches, what can you do? Well, if you've been sitting on the computer for the whole day and you go home, or get out of your office at home and start to feel like, oh, there's so much tension around my eyes, just this tension, and I'm getting a headache inside, behind my eyes. It's maybe traveling all the way back into your occipital area, which is on the back of your head. And there's just this constant tension. Well, there's tons of things you can do, and be creative. Remember, so I talk a lot about how to use those little balls, and 4 to 6 inches diameter. There is a YouTube video that I have on how to find good tools for yourself. So please go back and watch it when you have a minute. So this kind of a ball that you can buy anywhere in a toy store or online, or in Walmart, wherever you want to go. It's actually a lifesaver. It's really miraculous with what we can do with it. So one thing I would recommend, if you start to feel like you got a lot of tension, you can grab your ball and actually put it on the back of your body. You can put it on the back of your head, right where that head meets the neck, on the firm surface here that we call the occipital bone, super important bone. And then down, you can actually put it in between your shoulder blades as well. So pick one spot to start with. And I always recommend my clients to actually pick that spot between your shoulder blades, right? So you probably can see it here. So it goes right on the spine, and you can just let yourself lay on the floor, or you can use the wall. I like the floor because you can get that full pressure, and you can also relax on the floor. It's going to be more effective. So as you lay down on the floor, you can sort of feel that, what we do, we feel the pressure, we feel the connection between the ball that we use and the spine and all the tissues. And then you can open your arms. So what you'll be getting, you're gonna be getting this beautiful pressure into your spine. I'm actually enjoying it right now as we talk. Here we go. and if you're watching, just grab your ball too. You can actually do that as you're watching the Q&A show, and maybe some questions will come up for you. And so just let yourself connect to that spine, and then you can also open your arms. So you're going to be getting a stretch on your chest and the front of your neck as you're laying down. And of course, make it comfortable. Don't overstretch it. Don't overdo it. As you are doing that, as you are connecting with that pressure and stretching the front, what happens, as I said, the body is not a combination of pieces. It is actually a connected living, breathing system. So one thing is connected to the other. Often we get headaches because this area here in the chest and the shoulders get so tight, it starts to pull on our head like a hood almost, squeezing and pushing on our very sensitive structures in the head, and we get that sensation of a tension headache. So just starting with stretching your chest and stretching your shoulders can be super beneficial for you. So also what I wanted to say is um, you can then also put your ball behind your head like I was showing before, and you can see that. Put it right on that firm surface behind your head, and again it's the same thing, you just lay on it and feel that firmness. And I encourage you again to watch some of my 5-minute videos that I'm posting, because we guide you through that process. And usually what I recommend, so with the fascial system, when we ask you the question, how is that different from your regular stretching? So a very important thing is that we practice patience with those self-treatment techniques. So it goes deeper and deeper, because we're not only relieving a symptom, we're actually creating those habits of reconnecting with our body every single day. And I feel like it's super important. And this actually is the road to feeling healthy and feeling empowered in your body throughout your life. And that's why, I'm big on creating that habit of everyday treatment. And if you've been my patient, you know that I push that idea on everybody relentlessly. So just to tell you more about the techniques, so you want to, as you're using the ball, like I said, you can put it behind your spine on the shoulder, between the shoulder blades, or you can put it under your head. And the technique is that you are sinking into that pressure of the ball, and you are actually staying on it for at least 5 minutes. And you want to be breathing and relaxing. You don't want to be, rubbing it or massaging or moving around. You want to actually feel the firmness of the pressure, right? So people ask all the time, I've had those questions, so how does myofascial release work, and how does this treatment work? Like, why is it different again? So it is different because with the fascia, with the connective tissue in the body that wraps and surrounds and holds everything inside our bodies and can press and compromise those pain sensitive structures like your nerves or blood vessels, what happens that when the fascia gets really tight, it doesn't help to just kind of stretch it for a few seconds. It's way too resilient and resistant. And it won't really help long term. What helps long term is practicing that patience. So you want to use gentle pressure enough so you can relax and soften, and um, and then you want to stay on that for at least 5 minutes. We love that thing, 5 minute thing, right? And that's why I call my little show every day a 5 minute therapy. But it's 5 minutes or more, right? And you find that at some point, as you're treating yourself, you will actually have that sensation of things melting in your body, all right? Softening and melting. So it may not come right away. It may take you maybe a few tries and maybe a couple weeks. So keep on it. And if you don't have the right, if you don't have your relief coming right away, or if it doesn't work for a few times, if you don't feel that relief, don't give up, because we imagine if you are sitting in front of the computer all day long, the fascial system is just staring at the screen with your eyes, and maybe just getting kind of wrapped in what you're doing. Your fascial system is actually getting increasingly tighter and tighter, and so it takes a whole day for it to get tighter. And then we expect it to just stretch in a few seconds. No, it won't. So again, there's two things, I'm kind of preaching here, but a 5 minute or more, or actually doing it every day, doing it consistently. So try some of those techniques. There's also funny techniques that I'm going to be teaching you, like ear pulls. And so you can pull on your ears. You can actually treat your eyes with your hands, and we're going to do a video on that too. So just stay tuned. I don't have it yet, but you can definitely work around your eyes and around, you know, the bony structures here that hold your eyes. So just stretching with your fingers and hands. Um, so again, we're teaching a lot about the power of our hands and the power of our own body to heal ourselves. It's a huge thing for me to help people understand that we don't need to always look outside for help, because our body came ready to be its own resource, and it came ready to this planet to stay healthy, in harmony, and in homeostasis, meaning balance. And we interfere with it. But if we pay attention and allow our bodies to be actually to come online and to be respected, they will surprise you with this incredible ability they have to heal themselves. Okay, so we only heal ourselves, nobody's there to heal you. So yeah, so if you have those symptoms with your with the headaches or tension around your eyes, so try the ball, try ear pulse, watch the videos that I'm going to be posting on Facebook and YouTube. And also, I just posted a video on how to treat your wrists and your hands, which should be a good one. I think it's going to be coming up next week. So very good. Another question that I wanted to address, which I got from several of you, is about why do I talk so much about scar tissue and surgeries, and what does it have to do with therapy, and is it even safe to treat your scar tissue, or how is it going to help? Because once we say have a surgery, or say like your C-section or any pelvic surgery, back surgery, any surgery really, we of course get scar tissue on the skin. And people asked, I had a few questions about scar tissue, so I just want to kind of bring it all together. So people ask, so I cannot, obviously, I cannot make it disappear. But what I want to bring to your attention today is very important. And I see that in therapy, for many, many years that I've been working with people, that working on the scar tissue is singularly one of the most beneficial, powerful ways to relieve chronic pain or acute pain, or any discomfort, stiffness, or tightness in the body. And why is it so? So we never think, we don't worry about what's happening on the skin. It's not about just the cosmetic reasons. If I could, I would love to be able to help you with the skin, but that's not my specialty. However, what happens with the scar tissue when we say have a surgery? Maybe you had a C-section, which is something that women often forget about for some reason. So when you have that surgery, your surgical knife has to cut through and all the way down into, say, if it's a C-section, all the way down to the uterus. So it's a huge scar that goes all the way into the organ. The same actually for endoscopic surgeries, where we just have a small little dot of a scar on the skin, but what happens inside, imagine that the surgical equipment had to go all the way down into the organ that was being operated on, or maybe into the bone, wherever, or the joint, wherever it was operated. So it's not what happens on the surface, it is what happens inside the body. So as we were talking, inside of, we are made of this beautiful connective tissue that is a single system. It is actually connected through the entire body, and that's a fact. And we can talk more about that. There's a lot of research showing us how it really works. So imagine those webs of connective tissue that are going all the way into the organs, all the way into the cells, really. And when they are being cut through, or in some way damaged, what happens, the body has to build it back up. And what happens with the body, doesn't just build it back up as this nice, beautiful, fluid connective tissue as it should be. It builds this thicker layer for protection, to make sure it's all that is safe and closed up, that there's no more danger of infection. And thankfully, we have that. Scar tissue is so important to help us heal. However, as we go on, and sometimes, I've had those questions in the last Q&A show about, somebody had a back surgery and they felt good for a couple years, but then they started to feel the same symptoms, or even worse. So when we have those surgeries, when they have that scar tissue inside the body, it starts growing and kind of expanding. Those thick links of thicker fibers are actually not just staying put. They're actually growing deeper and deeper into the body, sometimes start to wrap around the organs, wrap around the joints. So the body's sort of creating more and more of that thickness. So we would have people, a lot of women come in and they suddenly develop that back pain or pelvic pain or hip pain. For women, often, they develop a lot of hip pain or pelvic pain. It seems like a very important area for women, obviously. And what we find out, that maybe they had a C-section or a hysterectomy or any other, pelvic surgery that created that scar tissue inside the pelvis. And what happens over time, maybe it was okay for a couple of years, and then over time, that scar tissue starts to create more and more thickness, more and more tightness, and started to pull on the joints, perhaps for hip pain, started to compress and sort of wrap organs too tightly. So what happens is, in the body, there's those alarm systems coming up and ringing, and it starts to be painful. So pain is almost like the last resort of the body to tell us that there is a problem, and because it needs our attention. So if you, I would say, get curious. If you are having back pain or pelvic pain, first of all, ask yourself, so have I had any surgeries there? You probably will remember. And you can treat your own scar tissue. We're gonna shoot a video too on how to treat the scar tissue on your own, because I find it's hugely important. So we just put pressure, again, like as a therapist, we put pressure. As therapists, we put pressure into that scar, and sort of it's the same technique. We just put pressure and weight and allow that thickness to melt and soften. And even though, say, I cannot touch the organs, I cannot go deep inside there, just through the skin, obviously, just by patiently waiting and allowing that tissue to soften, it starts to melt. And it has to do with the structure of our body, the functioning of our body, and how it is really built. Our body is not just a bag of muscles and ligaments and tissues. It's actually a living, breathing mechanism, and it responds to outside pressure constantly, always. And so, if we put this patient, loving, intentional pressure into the body, it starts to soften and melt. So, again, I encourage you, of course, self promotion here. No, just kidding. But watch the videos that we post every day. Our 5-minute therapy. There's going to be a scar tissue treatment coming up, self treatment. Because again, you can do a tons for yourself. So this is something for back pain, hip pain, but any pain in the body, because just ask yourself, where do I have scar tissues? Where did I have surgeries? And how that may lead to pain. And be open-minded. One thing with helping our bodies to be healthy and strong is just having that open mind. Uh, because a lot of medical science is very narrow-minded, and it only talks about symptoms and prescribes medication. So we kind of conditioned, and we're kind of trained, I would say, to think that way, because that's the message we get, right? But once you start treating yourself and going into your body, connecting with the um, with what's inside of it, you start to explore and open up this incredible universe where there is not only physical sensations, but emotions can come up, right? So often, another question that we're getting is, so how do emotions connect with the body, and why is that important? Why do you talk about that? So that's hugely important. Um, Again, I want to have you consider that, again, we're talking about symptoms, and like I have a back pain or hip pain or head pain or whatnot, but it's never about symptoms. Our body is this multidimensional being. It is emotional, it is instinctual, and it is physical, and it is spiritual if you want to venture into those realms. And I never feel like, it's necessary to have any belief system or believe in anything, but it's all about experience. So as you're treating yourself in certain areas, maybe start working on your scar tissue once you learn those techniques, and using your fingers and hands to soften up that scar tissue from surgeries. You may feel some emotions come up, or you may feel some really odd, strange sensations come up. And sometimes you feel heat or cold or kind of nauseous, almost like some toxicities coming out of the body. Well, consider this: our tissues, our connective tissue, our fascia is a repository for all the memories, everything that happened in the past. It also can hold toxins, because if it's not released, if it's not fluid enough, it's holding on to toxins. And as we start to treat ourselves, we open up that system and allow it to be more fluid, to flush out. And that stuff has to go somewhere. Those toxins and also stored emotions, reactions, have to go somewhere. So you may feel them come up. You may feel, oh, it's really uncomfortable. So remember, you don't have to do anything about it. All you need to do is be aware and conscious and allow yourself to breathe, drink water, and your body is taking care of itself. It's actually releasing. The only danger is when we actually keep those emotions inside of our body and don't do anything about it. Don't let ourselves process them, because then they get stuck, and the tissue, the connective tissue, the fascia, is holding on to that toxicity, be it emotional or physical or chemical. And it's getting worse and worse that way, you know? So I think intuitively we understand that very well. This is an experience that most people have. Um, that maybe you have some parts of your body that when you touch or when you kind of think about, you feel like you don't really want to go there. Well, I want to encourage you to actually be curious and explore and actually try to go there slowly and softly, using your hands, even using a little bit of touch. So, the whole topic of how the body stores emotions and how emotional release is a huge part of the physical release and of helping with, say, your symptoms, chronic pain or tightness, stiffness, or lack of energy. That's one of my favorite topics. I find that it's not always easy to explain it intellectually, uh, but we are, I feel as human beings, we are completely aware of how this happens, and we know because we are emotional beings. So I want to encourage you, as you're treating yourself, as you're getting into this world of, even your 5-day therapy for every day, as you're treating yourself every single day, that you open yourself, open your mind to starting to explore those emotions that are coming up, and just kind of be curious. There's so many ways to work with it. Like I said, you don't really have to do much about it because your body is healing, but some wonderful ways to continue and go deeper instead of unravel our story and unravel, um, you know, actually inquire deeper on how we can heal ourselves, or you can journal, or you can use art by just spontaneous drawing, or you can also um, record some memories and then listen back to them. You can use movement and sort of let the energy come out. So we start with the treatment, and then we may feel like, oh, emotions are coming up. I need to give it an outlet. So we don't go out there and like scream at our husband. It's not helpful. But what we do, or wife, even worse. But what we do is we just use some sort of a creative expression, which may be movement, which may be, you know, kind of spontaneous drawing or painting, or which can be writing. So think of what you like to do. You can also talk with somebody. It's, I feel, a wonderful way to go into treating ourselves is to get together with a friend and maybe do that together. And we are going to be also teaching how to treat each other, and that's coming. I also offer online treatments for couples or friends, people who would want to commit to doing therapy on each other, because, like I said, there's nothing different between a therapist and a person who's not a therapist, apart from just a little bit of experience. Uh, but really what happens is that we have this incredible ability and power to treat ourselves and treat each other. It's a natural ingrained ability and capacity of our bodies. So I want you to consider that. If you have questions about it, I would love to talk more about that. And you can also post questions here for later. if you go to my Facebook page or YouTube, and especially if you want to go on Instagram, that's a wonderful way to connect. And I'm actually going to put my Instagram here. So my Instagram is Empower Your Health, and I find that that's a really probably the best way to connect with me and to ask questions. So I'm going to put this here and in the chat. And honestly, I am happy to answer any of your questions, because, and I'm just writing, and here we go, at Empower Your Health TV. So basically, it's a great way. I'm going to answer any questions that you may have, that you want to, ask me about. I think that, this is really close to my heart, to be able to help people be educated and understand, especially this one message that I keep on pounding here, is that we have incredible power as human beings to actually understand our bodies, to treat them well, uh, to take our power back from having to be always reliant on somebody else or on medication or surgeries and procedures and information that we get from the outside. Because one thing I want you to think about is how many different trends and ideas and solutions that change constantly are out there, that are coming, we are being bombarded with. Well, there is a constant sort of messaging coming through the media or coming through, maybe the medical establishment, that it kind of changes all the time. Now do this, eat that, no, that's wrong, eat something different. Become vegan, go on keto, just eat meat. Don't exercise, run, don't run, lift weights. There's always constant change in all those messages that are coming through. But where you will find true answers and stability and understanding of really what to do is inside your own body. And this will never change. Once you start to connect and understand the messages and the language of your body, you will have this incredible resource that will never let you down. So what I want you to consider for this, to answer like many questions about how to treat this, how to treat that, which I cannot really, give you exact solutions on here on YouTube, on the video, on the Q&A show, because that is an individual consultation. But what I want to say is that watch the videos, and we're going to be talking also about how to connect with the body, what are the body language kinds, and how the body communicates with us, which is through different ways. And it's usually sensations, it's emotions, it's intuitive knowing. Some people have actual visuals, or kind of feel a sense resonance in the body, or have some hits and intuitive insights. So there's so many different ways to communicate with our body, but we don't just sit there and think about it. What happens once you start treating yourself and doing your therapy every day, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, seriously, just that short, you will start to connect with your own unique, specific body language. And you start to understand how your body is talking to you. And once you understand that, you'll be able to know what you need to eat and how you need to exercise, and you actually know when it's time to see your doctor or your therapist, and also when it's time to just work with yourself or when it's time to work with some emotional baggage. So you have all that knowledge inside of yourself. That's the message for today. So, and the other message is that consistency and habits is what creates your results. So remember that you're empowered and you have absolute power and ability to create a healthy, strong, beautiful, vibrant life for yourself and its extension of that for everybody around us. So thank you so much for today, and keep on connecting, please, and send me questions on YouTube, Facebook, and especially on Instagram at Empower Your Health TV. I posted that on the comments, and I look forward to chatting again, and be well and have a beautiful Sunday. Bye bye.